All right, welcome to the 10-minute live spark. I'm your girl Olivia Odaleke, and I have the pleasure of having Dr. Terry Ross with me today. He is the leader and founder of the Empowered Leader and also the New Teacher Academy that he spent years focusing on how to develop teachers fundamentally, because a lot of times they were coming out of school and they were just going into the classrooms and he felt they needed mentorship. So I want to just thank him for coming. He has not only leadership in schools, but on the district level, and he's going to be able to offer us some really good insight on our 10-minute live today. Welcome, Dr. Ross.
Thank you so much, Olivia. This is exciting. I'm happy to be here because I did found New Teacher University and I pivoted into the Empowered Leadership Academy. And teaching is who I am. Education is who I am. So it was just a small pivot because I'm coming back to education. I just needed to develop the leadership part of my company.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Because
Yes.
I kind of feel the same way with you. I was focusing more on teacher development, but I realized the more I work with principals, they needed to be developed too. There needs to be mentorship there. So we're going to jump right into some questions for you because I love it when I bring different variety of leadership skills to the show. I'm real curious though, Dr. Ross. Many leaders walk away from classroom visits with notes, ratings, or checklists. But when you're working with leadership teams, what helps them move from just documenting what they saw to recognizing what it means across classrooms,
Well,
recognizing those patterns.
yes, and you're exactly right because you need to recognize patterns and not silos and isolated things that's happening. Because when leadership teams walk classrooms and leave with nothing but notes or checklists, the missed opportunity isn't instructional; it's actually leadership capacity, Olivia. Because
Mm.
patterns point us back to our expectations, our communications, and our leadership design. So if the expectation was clear, consistently reinforced and supported, you wouldn't see the same gaps repeating across rooms. So the shift happens when leaders stop asking, what did the teacher do? And start asking, what did we design? What did we emphasize? Or what did we unintentionally allow? So that's when walkthroughs stop being evaluative and start becoming diagnostic, and leadership growth begins. And not just among the leadership team, but among the teachers because you bring them inside the process as well.
I love what you said about what did we design? Basically, what were our inputs, right? Our
Yes.
inputs determine our outputs because if there's no design, if there's no like really clear, crystal clear thinking about what do we want this to look like, it's really hard for it to look like that. So I'm so happy you brought that up. So
Yes, and especially if there's a pattern across classrooms and it's not just an isolated incident.
I love that pattern things because that really is what I think often goes unseen is looking for patterns because we're so, like you said earlier, looking just to say we're evaluating they did this, did that, and let's run out of here. Let me go to my next question. When a leadership team starts to see patterns, okay, instead of isolated moments, what typically becomes visible that wasn't before? And what do they suddenly notice after their system?
I think I know what becomes visible are opportunities in the system. Because when leaders zoom out and stop seeing classrooms as disconnected silos and start seeing how the system is or isn't supporting the work, the patterns reveal where alignment is strong and where the system has gaps, whether it's pacing, whether it's engagement, whether it's feedback loops or professional learning. And I'm intentional about the language here because these aren't failures, these are opportunities. So seeing patterns allows leadership teams to ask smarter questions like, where do we need more clarity? What support structures need strengthening, and what's working in pockets that we can learn from, because I believe that every school, there are some superstar teachers. You can't take me to a failing school and say that this entire school is failing. There may be systems failing in the schools, but teachers are not failing. So
Oh,
find out where are those bright spots, and then how do we elevate them and ask the teachers, what could we do better here? And I guarantee you, you get better answers and you're going to get better performance because you didn't go in saying, this is what you need to do. You engage them in the process. And then you let them come up with the answers because someone on that team or that grade level or in that content area, they're doing the right thing. They're doing what they're supposed to do.
I love that. That's kind of like having those coachable prompts, so to speak, where you are asking questions based on these patterns, based on things you're noticing, and then you're actively seeking their feedback on, okay, you noticed this. What can we do about it based on your experience? Because, like you said, the schools are not failing, it's the systems in the schools, and there are always those superstar teachers. So let's give our props to the superstar teachers that's out there doing this every day.
Absolutely. And if they're getting up going in, they're a superstar because I don't know a teacher yet that says, let me get up and go in today and mess up children and not teach. I haven't seen that. So if they're,
I love that. Let me just go in here and mess these kids.
yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay, our time. One more question I have for you is, once a team can name a pattern, whether it's about questioning or engagement or pacing, how do you help them make that insight shareable, turning it into without turning it into a mandate or a deficit conversation?
Well, I think I kind of shared some of that answer earlier. But this is where emotional intelligence and trust matters the most because every pattern includes someone doing something well or at least pieces of effective practice. So we start there. We highlight what's working, we name the strengths we're seeing, and we elevate those examples. That immediately lowers the defensiveness and builds credibility. And that's where you ask the teachers, what do you think work what's going to work here and how could this look across classrooms, and that's where your peer-to-peer solutions are found. And now it's not a mandate from you, it's coming from each other, and that's where your PLCs and your ILTs come in, being very authentic, that you're not in there every week with something new. You're in there working on the work, you're looking at the data, you're saying this is what worked well last week, this is what we need to improve on. So what are the opportunities here? What can we do to make this better? So I, as a leader, one of the reasons I had so much success as a principal is my teachers were engaged throughout the entire process. I had my own research and development department, and that research and development department were those teachers who are willing to take risks and try new things. And they'll say, hey, I'm doing this, or I see them doing something everyone else isn't doing. And I'd ask them to unpack that. And from there, they would share it with their colleagues. Now it didn't come from me, it came from their peers. The defensiveness were down, and it had already been tested with the same students that we had in the building.
Mm. So it sounds to me like you designed a system that allows teachers to feel safe to try something new and feel safe to share, and just that, like you said earlier, that emotional intelligence.
Yes.
You weren't judging them, you were
No.
like looking at, okay, we can sit here and look at frustrations, but you were looking for the gems, like let's look at the gems that we have here.
Absolutely. And helping them to unpack, allowing them to unpack what they did and why they did it. Because sometimes when you understand their why behind it, then you'll understand why they did it. So now you can help them to see, well, maybe isn't that piece isn't going to work, but I like that you explained that because I know what you were thinking when you tried it. So it's very important that we continue with making sure that we have the teacher's voice up front and that our teachers know that they are valued because our teachers are professionals. And
I love that they
and
are.
we're not there to treat them like they're students. In fact, my job was not to take care of the students. My job was to take care of the teachers because they were trained very well on how to take care of our students.
And Dr. Ross, I'm going to say this again. It just seems like you are an excellent designer. And as people who are listening today who are in leadership roles, they need to realize that you design this. It doesn't just happen. And we don't need to focus on what teachers need to fix. We need to focus on what do we want to see and design the inputs and outputs to get that. So, are there any last
Absolutely.
words before we wrap up our 10-minute live spark? Any takeaways you would like someone in leadership to just kind of take away from our conversation today?
Well, whether you're a principal, assistant principal, a lead teacher, facilitator, or whatever, engage the teachers. Engage your teachers. The answers are in your building. But if you want the answers to be in your building, you also need to make sure that you are designing processes so that they can come to the forefront. Like making sure that your faculty meeting is not just a sit and get checklist, making sure that if you saw a teacher doing something that you want spread throughout the building, when they come to faculty meeting, they're seeing their colleague presenting that strategy rather than you up there doing stuff that you could put in a memo or an email. So making sure that we use our teachers' time wisely, making sure that we respect their professionalism because they are trained professionals,
Keep
and that
saying
we
that one. I
yes,
think I need to write a song. I'm a trained professional. I think
yes,
I need to write a song because, we have to go get degrees. We have to take a lot of tests. It's not like you just woke up one day and just said, "Hey, I'm a teacher." So,
absolutely.
well, I like to leave every 10-minute spark with a song from our Fearless Educator radio program, where we are creating songs to help heal teachers and
Yes,
educators. And so this song is called I'm a Leader. And hopefully, this song inspires you to not only lead on the outside, but to design systems that work and engage the teachers on the inside.
yes, yes. They're worth it. Our teachers worth
They are worth it. Got a little funk here.
it. Yes.
I'm a leader. I'm a leader. Not a pleaser.
Yes.
Pattern leader. I'm a leader. I'm a leader. Vision clearer. Future seer. I slow down, just speed it up. Read the room, then I build it up. See the gaps where the silence sits. Ask the questions that don't get picked. I don't
Yes.
rush to react to heat. I observe before I speak. Curiosity is my crowd. I lift the standard, shift the ground. I notice trends before they trend. See where cycles start and end. Model clarity, move with grace. Set the tone, the pace. I'm a leader.
Oh yes,
I'm
I
a
love it.
leader.
So much emotional intelligence in this song.
Pattern reader.
I
Yes,
just finished reading that
I'm
book,
a leader.
Emotional Intelligence,
I'm a
and
yes,
I
leader.
think all principals need to
Vision
read it.
yes.
clearer.
I used to train
Future
principals with new leaders for new
seer.
schools, and I
Yeah,
Colors
introduced
like quiet
emotional
strength.
intelligence
Take
2.0
your
back in
time, don't make it
2008
late.
to the
Gotta
Memphis office
talk and I lean
that
in.
is great.
See the
Well,
because
I've
we
just
room
given
needed it.
a little sample of I'm a Leader. To hear the full song, it's available at fearlesseducator.com. Again, this is a 10-minute live spark, and we'll see you next Wednesday for another exciting topic on
Thank
instructional
you.
leadership.
Thank you for the invitation. I appreciate it.
You are so welcome.
And I love this